Marking the anniversary of the historic legislation that outlawed discrimination on the basis of race or sex, President Joe Biden today called for sweeping reforms of the Supreme Court. His appearance here in Austin and at the Presidential Library of Lyndon B. Johnson, who famously did not seek re-election, didn't go over anyone's heads.
We're a nation of laws, not kings and dictators.
In Austin today, President Joe Biden commemorated the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, signed into law by former President Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yet those who founded our country knew that freedom would be secure only if each generation fought to renew and enlarge its meaning.
60 years later, President Biden says continuing that legacy means changing federal powers. That includes calls for an end to presidential immunity from prosecution, term limits for Supreme Court justices, and a Supreme Court code of conduct.
I have great respect for our institutions and the separation of powers laid out in our Constitution. But what's happening now is not consistent with that doctrine.
The president had originally been expected in Austin earlier this month, though the trip was canceled in the wake of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. The irony of commemorating Lyndon Johnson, who famously opted against seeking the Democratic nomination for a second term as president, not lost on anyone. In fact, Austin Congressman Lloyd Doggett, in attendance at today's address, made that connection when he called on President Biden to step off the ticket earlier this month.
I expressed to him my appreciation, which is very genuine, for the sacrifice that he made that will permit us to protect our democracy, and he thanked me for asking.
A number of other Texas Democrats attended the president's address. Notably absent, Governor Greg Abbott, who took to social media writing, in part, Joe Biden and his border czar, Kamala Harris, can come all the way to Texas, but not the border. Americans are waiting for them to take this national security crisis seriously. President Joe Biden left Austin earlier this evening for Houston to commemorate the life of the late Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Vice President Harris, now the presumed Democratic nominee, will head to Houston for a celebration of life service for the Congresswoman later this week. In Austin, Michael Atkinson, CBS Austin News.
Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and get the latest news by downloading the CBS Austin News app.